friends. Okay, so I thought that we would watch a few more alien encounter videos together because that's our thing. So let's see what these videos have in store for us.
Loved him. Loved him. And he said, Chris, they put a block in your brain that I'm going to remove that block, but I'm going to program you to remember everything that happened. And so immediately I began to recall things that happened, but it was all images of things I couldn't make sense of. What I began to remember was, first off, was how they come and got me. That orb that shot down as an orange ball beside the other two orange balls, it came straight at me and it shifted into this white egg, came right up over top of me, above me, and I look up and all I could see was this ball of light that just engulfed me, around me, and next thing I know, I'm in a black room and I could hear my breath, and I was panicked and I was afraid. I couldn't see anything in either direction. I couldn't even see me. I got so afraid I could hear myself, and this light started to appear around me like a spotlight from above, and I could see completely around me, my feet and all of white, but I could stick my hand in the blackness and it would disappear. Couldn't see outside of the light around me. And soon this light started receding back to where I began to see these three shadowy figures. They were there with me. And that began a virtual tour. It was a beautiful experience, but they're describing everything that they were showing me. So I was basically in an orb, felt like a bubble that I could touch the walls, but I couldn't see them. I could see the stars under me and feel the floor, but couldn't see the floor. Is that clear? I began to see always these different places in the U.S. They would be up, looking down, telling me what I'm seeing. One particular thing that stuck out was us looking at the pyramids in Egypt, and I'm seeing the Sphinx from the rear. So we're up in the air looking over the pyramids at the rear end of the Sphinx. And then I see Hathor's temple, and I see all these engravings about nature and about animals and birds, and their deities are animals and birds, right? And understand it. Loved them. And
That was interesting. Now let's watch this young lady's experience.
So, when I was younger, I had an alien abduction experience, and it took me 5 years to be able to actually articulate what happened to me to somebody without crying about it. And there are witnesses to this: my brother, my mother, family members, friends. Like, it was really something that broke me down, and it crumbled my whole idea of reality as a child, and it really fucked me up. And I never really came out and told anyone publicly about it. I just kept it as a secret, because I know that I go through a lot of like woo-woo situations in my life, and you know, this is very traumatic for me, and I feel like it's also harder to believe than a lot of the other paranormal experiences that I've had. But it does run in my family to see UFOs or aliens and things of that nature, generation to generation. I've looked into it the past 3 generations of my family. There has been either sightings or close encounters with these type of beings, usually when we are young. And it actually just recently happened to my brother's daughter too, at my grandparents' house, where a lot of us had experiences seeing little green men. My uncle, who went into the Air Force right after high school, he left. He was very antisocial, and he used to see little green men coming to his room. But besides that point, this is the story. What year was it? I was in 6th grade, and I had my own room, and I had a bunk bed in my room. and it was just me and my brother in the house. So I went to sleep at night. He was still up. He was playing the game in my mom's room. And it wasn't any situation like I saw a bright light come through my window, or, you know, I didn't levitate out of my bed or anything. And one thing about me is that I've always been a light sleeper. Anything happens, I'm gonna wake up, okay? And majority of the time, I stay up all night. Like, I have crazy insomnia. I cannot go to sleep while the sun's down. So I know for a fact, I can tell, and I've been such an avid dreamer my whole life, I can tell when there's a lucid dream happening and when there's a physical situation happening. I went to sleep on my bed and I woke up in a different room. And when I woke up in this different room, it was a circular room, and it had smooth, rounded walls on it. I saw one small porthole window, and it reminded me at the time of like the windows from like SpongeBob on the show, like the little portholes. And it was a metal porthole window and a small, you know, glass. And when I looked out that window, it was just black. And I had this feeling, like my heart dropped to my stomach, and I had this feeling like I want my mommy to come get me, but I'm too far. She'll never find me here. And I was really scared. And at that point, I realized that I couldn't move from where I was, because I was just like looking around the room. And I couldn't actually physically move my body. And it didn't even feel like sleep paralysis. It felt like I didn't have a body. Like I couldn't feel anything at all. I could just move my eyes. It was like I couldn't even feel pressure on me like sleep paralysis or anything to like try to move. Like it felt completely numb. Like I didn't have a body at all. And I didn't have any control over it. I couldn't move anything. And I was looking around the room with my eyes like this. And I remember seeing around the bottom floor of the room, there were these tube-like things, which at the time I associated with the idea of like Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast, where the rose with the roses in, it were those type of little pod glass things that were in the floor around the room, and they were around the whole entirety of the room, and they had green fluid in it, and there were babies at different periods of growth. Like there were embryos, there were tiny little babies, they were the whole full term babies. It was babies in these tubes, and it freaked me the fuck out. And when I kind of brought my attention back center, there was a alien there. I would say it was a gray alien, but it was like a greenish, palish, minty green looking color. It was this close to my face. He leaned in, and it was this close to my face. And the eyes were so big I couldn't even like see. Like his eyes wrapped around the sides of his head. They were big and they were black. He had tiny little mouth. It was just slit in two little holes as a nose, and he had like wrinkles on his forehead. Like you could tell his expressions, but it wasn't saying anything. And he smelled like cinnamon and throw up. I've never forgotten about that. I've never forgotten about that. I'm 25 years old. I was in 6th grade, early 6th grade. I don't even know how old I was, but it smelled like cinnamon and throw up. Warm, sweet, spicy, putrid. It was weird. It made me nauseous. And while he was looking at me, when I looked into his eyes, it was like static. Like I started seeing like TV static. And it actually, what it seemed like was it was trying to imprint a certain type of cover situation or dream on my memory so that I would not recall the situation, because it was looking at me deeply in my eyes, and then there was static, and then there was this dream-like state coming over me, which I was aware of because I've been such an avid lucid dreamer my entire life, and I remember every single one of my dreams. So once this started to come over, it was like static, and then it was like a clown. It was like a creepy clown, but it was like very cartoonish, and I dream in like reality. I don't dream in cartoons. I don't dream in crazy colors. I don't dream in random fairy tale mystical things. And there was these cartoon crazy clowns, like scary clowns, like coming towards me like this with the big creepy faces, and it was all dark in the background, but I'd never been scared of clowns, so it didn't resonate with me. And once I was looking at it, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense, the whole thing kind of like staticked away, like the whole image of the clowns and everything staticked away, and I was back in the same room that I originally was in, and there were more beings. Now there were about 5 little green gray alien things around my table that I was laying on, and I was laying on a metal slab table, and it went down in a tilt like this, and it reminded me of like a mortuary bed or something like that, but it had a tilt to it, and I was butt naked, and I was on this table, and I was a child, okay? And I know I was naked because I know I was naked. And then there were all of these little aliens. They came up around me, and they put their fingers on top of me, and they started just like touching me. The thing was their fingers were like twice as long, and they had bulbs at every knuckle. It was like bulbous.
Oh my gosh. The other day when I was doing that past life regression session, do you remember? That's how my hands and my feet looked. Oh my gosh.
Bubbles. And I thought that was really weird. And they were just like touching me, like laying their hands on different parts of me and everything. And this was before we actually started the following procedures. But before I get into that part, there was screaming around this point. And there was a lady screaming. And she was screaming, "Give me my baby, that's my baby, give me my baby." And I couldn't see her. I couldn't turn to look at her. I didn't know where she was in the room, but she sounded like she was really close. And it sounded like she was screaming from right behind my head, like she was right behind me. Like her bed was laying against my bed. Like that's what it sounded like. It sounded like she was screaming right behind me. And then this alien comes around me, and it's holding this baby, this newborn baby. The baby's not crying or anything. And then the craziest fucking thing happens. The wall just opens up. It like morphed and merged like a liquid. It just opened up. There was no door or like structure to like open or close. The metal just like melted and morphed away, and it opened up. And this thing I did not expect came into the room.
That is a really interesting story, honestly. I wonder if she has a part 2, because that is like so freaking interesting. And if she does have a part 2, I will definitely make another another video on that, because she has really interesting content actually. I'll follow her. She's pretty young, but you know what? Doesn't matter. Oh my gosh, her mom has UFO experiences too. Guys, we are definitely going to keep watching some of her videos together as friends, because she has lots of interesting content. But yeah, I'm going to, oh, that was dust washed. Okay. I'm going to end this video now. Thanks for watching with me. Love you.